Sharing live stream. It is live streamed.
We are going live. Yes, we are. Walking in the shadows. We need some sound like music, introduction music.
Live stream.
Ooh, yeah, here we go. We are live. How are you all? Nice.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Walking in the Shadows with me. My name's Lisa.
Oh, and I'm Juliet.
Hello, everyone. Today, Juliet is back in the house for the first time in 3 weeks. Oh my God.
I just had to go off to the islands to get some Botox, get a lift and a tart, but
She's got beautiful boobs now. Don't worry, everyone. I've got you covered. I'll do the description. She's had a boob job. Life is good. No, she hasn't. That would be terrible.
No. I've been I had an adoption process and here he is.
Oh my God, what have you adopted? What is he?
He's a fugly yowie. Isn't he wearing his little briefs? Look at them. Aren't they cute?
So Juliet is now.
Oh, no, actually, sorry, he's not a yowie. He's a yeti. Sorry. So
he's a yeti. So Juliet is holding up this fluffy white little plush toy that is a fugly yeti with undies on.
He's a fugly. We'll put a picture of him up. So and he's got button eyes. He's got one orange button eye, one yellow button eye. Hi, Nene. How's it going?
Infiltrated by my 4-year-old son because it is school holidays.
Yeah.
Out. I like you. No, mummy is.
Child has been evicted.
Child eviction 101. It's school holidays in New Zealand, so we get.
And it's school holidays here too. It's really funny because we're normally either a week ahead or a week behind Australia and New Zealand school holidays, and now they've matched, which is I find really interesting. So it's not a cheap time to travel, and the petrol goes up like frickin'.
Oh yeah, ridiculous amounts.
Hey, I mean, ridiculous amounts for you guys. Like, I mean, we went up to about 4 days before the school holidays. It goes up to about $2.10. Where normally it's $1.69.
I spit on your $2.10 and I raised you $3.24.
Oh, damn!
Yes, sucks. Also $10 for a block of butter, but we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Juliet, where did you get your little fugly yeti from?
Hey, Matt.
Oh, he's so cute.
I just love him. Like, honestly, I saw him and
hang on, wait, hold him so that we can see. I'm going to take a screenshot of you and him standing together in the screen. There we go, and I'll put it on the social media, okay, so that you can.
His teeth almost look like they're human teeth. It's so gross.
It's so weird.
Yeah, but I love his little.
Anyone that's just listening to this, including all of our friends over at the Cult of Conspiracy podcast, if you want to see what we're doing, you can jump on our YouTube channel and you can actually see this ugly, fugly little dude. He's freaking cute, man.
He's so soft and he's so cute. He's just like, and you can actually change the undies. Like so. Underpants. I don't know what it's called in America. Underpants.
Oh my God, you're an idiot. I love you.
He doesn't have a thong on, which is very non-Australian of him.
Yeah, also, you call thongs jandals.
Yeah, I know. And thongs are also, very thin.
G-strings. And so it does my head in every time you say thong, I'm like,
I know. I still say jandals. People will be like, oh, I've got my jandals.
Jandals are on our feet. Hey, the episode today is paranormal stories that we've never told. And I know we've told a lot of paranormal stories in our time over all of the episodes and little snippets and bits and pieces. But you and I have done a bucket load of like investigations together, right?
Yeah. And we didn't have to do investigations to have paranormal.
That's it. Yeah. We've also just had so many things happen. Like, you know, by ourselves when we're on our own sort of thing. And so I thought today would be real cool to like share those stories, because I love hearing ghost stories and paranormal stories, especially when they're like kind of personal and like real with someone that you know, right?
Yeah. And we have, you know, we've had some, you know, we've had some funny situations. Like one of my favorites one is when you first came over, when you came over here to Australia, and we went to the asylum, and this is when Lisa didn't even know what the word apparition was. And I'm going, you know, you might see an apparition. I'm trying to explain to her what's going to happen on this ghost hunt, and you're an apparition. And she's like, what's that? I'm like, you know, the ghosts that we see. And she had no idea. Though she'd seen them, like at the Naya house, she just didn't realize what they were called. And she was terrified. We've got some pretty funny videos of her and photos of her and her face looking quite terrified. So it was a fun night. And we drove up to this asylum, coming down this really dark, windy driveway, and there was like bush all around us. And then we just looked up at this place and we're like, oh my God.
It was literally like, it felt like we were driving to like Gotham Asylum and Batman. Like it had that huge big archway with the name on it. It was horrible. It was the worst first investigation experience I've ever had in my life.
And it really was. It was something like out of a horror movie. It was like,
it was horrible.
We drove up there and we're like, oh my God, this place just looks terrifying. You know, we've been to a few places and gone, oh yeah, but this place literally looked terrifying driving up.
I think, and I think Arrowdale Asylum is well known to be like one of the most haunted places in Australia. Right?
Yeah.
Like well known.
And the history behind it's pretty horrendous. So
freaks me out, man. It's not something that I ever want to go back and do. And there was a suggestion of like staying the night, and I was like, I'm gonna punch you in the face if you continue to suggest things like this.
Like, no, I am not.
I'm literally gonna punch you in the face so that I don't.
That's all right. We're gonna find some like cooler places to go stay.
Sure. Hey, so we've got lots of stuff to talk about today, and we'll kind of jump back into kind of what's been going on in our lives and like CWS and all that sort of stuff soon. But I just wanted to give a quick little rundown on the types of the paranormal activity and stuff, because there's a lot of people that are into cryptids or into UFOs that might not necessarily be into the paranormal or really kind of have an understanding. Like me, for example, when I first started Cryptid Women's Society with you, Jules, I had this understanding of UFOs, like quite a good understanding of the terminology and all that sort of stuff, but I had no idea about paranormal stuff. I didn't know what the word apparition was. I had no idea about what was the other thing you were like, a REM pod. I was like, what the hell is a REM pod? Like, I didn't even know there was equipment that you could take with you to an investigation, or how an investigation would look. Like my brain was like, I don't compute with this at all, and if anything touches me, I'm peeing my pants and I'm running away. That was my understanding. So I thought I've got a couple of types of the paranormal, and Jules, feel free to jump in here and give some more ideas and evidence around it if you want. So one of the first types of paranormal activity is hauntings, right? That's probably one of the most well-known types of paranormal activity. These typically involve ghostly presences like spirits or apparitions. Now we know what that word is. Sometimes it's just unexplained noises or objects moving on their own. Do you have any other information that you want to share, Jules?
The hauntings can be anything. It can be something in the room. It could be an object that's causing it. It could be a disturbance from the land. It could be something tragic that's happened in the house, or somebody's just passed away in the house, or, you know, like us with the Nio house, we were told we had like a portal there, people were passing through. So there's so many different reasons. Just because a house or an area is haunted, it doesn't mean that there's been a murder there, or there's this there, or, you know, or something like that. I mean, it tend to be like something, you know, rather nasty has happened there, but it's not always the case. So
well, I guess it's that emotion, isn't it? It's that kind of, if it's really strong negative emotion, then it's really gonna heighten emotion, then it's gonna hold that sort of energy there, or be able to, I guess, hold a portal open, or a channel or something like that. Cool, awesome. Okay, so the next one is poltergeists. They are troublemakers.
They are troublemakers.
Oh my
We
God.
we have had a few issues with poltergeists over
Yeah,
the years.
100%. Yeah, this is a more disruptive kind of activity where objects might be thrown or loud disturbances happen. People often feel like there's a kind of chaotic energy. I like that description because I was like, yeah, that's literally what it feels like. Like things are just being shifted all the time and the energy is just being moved about.
Yeah, yeah, and that was like a classic example for us was the Nio house. So the amount of poltergeist activity that we had in there.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because they say that a lot of poltergeist activity is to do with teenage girls, is associated with a lot of teenage girls and stuff. We did have my daughter there, but she was not close to being a teenager at that point, was she? Oh, she got up there, but yeah. But no, it was the house as a
Well,
whole.
actually, Ricky brought a few teenage girls home, so maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, that was my son. Teenage boys, teenage girls, yes. But yeah, no, it was yeah, that's kind of one of the things. Like, I don't always believe that poltergeist activity is to do with like teenagers and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's yeah, that kind of part of it. Yes, there is that kind of that angst and that emotion and stuff, but yeah, I'm not too sure on that. And that was a big part of, oh my God, I forgot the house here, the teenage girl, with the here in Australia where all the stones went through the windows. I've forgotten her name.
Yeah.
But that they put that down to her with the poltergeist activity and stuff going on in that house. But yeah, it's really interesting. There's always going to be something that's caused. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of TV shows have a lot of poltergeist activity, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about, Juliet, you're talking about the Humpty Doo case.
Was it
Humpty Doo, where she was, well, where the apparition was literally throwing stones through windows.
Yes, yeah.
That was in the Northern Territory.
Northern Territory, yeah. And the police were involved, and yeah, there was all sorts of stuff going on. So the whole family was absolutely terrorized. So
oh yeah, it was pretty crazy. Hey, we've got the indescribable Octo-Man on board. What up, fella? Let's read this comment real quick. Things have been moved and thrown in the house I live in now. Also heard things, not quite sure that things together like growling. I've felt a couple of things here by myself as well. That must be like friends or something, have also heard things together. A shadow figure outside the window at 3 a.m, a hand touching me from under the bed. No!
God, I love that one. Had that happen a few times.
Oh, no, thank you. That is Nightmare on Elm Street territory. Like the claw, like the fingers.
How old is your house, and where, is there kind of stuff that's happened on the land there? That'd be really interesting. The growling would concern me. Maybe, maybe do something about that.
I mean, look, growling on its own is never good. Growling when you can't see where it's coming from, or it's a disemboweled voice.
That would concern me. Out of all of that, yes, your shadow figures, you're like, piss off, mate, leave me alone. But the growling, that's not a great thing. Give us a call, man. We'll try and help you out.
Let us know more. Drop it in the comments. Oh.
Yeah. If anyone else is floating around, they've got some paranormal activity going on, let us know.
Yeah, drop it in the comments. Our next type of paranormal occurrences is residual hauntings. It says, think of this like a playback of past events. If certain scenes repeat themselves without a spirit actually interacting with the living. So kind of like a timeline or a time cycle or a time loop that they're kind of stuck in. And I think that was something that Brittany Barbieri kind of mentioned to us when we did an interview with her in regards to the paranormal stuff that her and Jack Osborne did and that sort of stuff. And she was like, pretty sure it was this time loop that these kind of energies were stuck in.
Yeah. I mean, they're not, and that's it. They're not interacting with you. It's basically the same information, and we've had that a few times, when we've done investigations, like the same information's coming through, just the same words, the same thing. So you're like, okay, so I mean, that's kind of how you can figure it out, going, okay, it's the same stuff coming through. So it's literally just a repetitive thing happening, and then it finishes, and then it happens again, and then it finishes. So,
And it's
and
not
there's
intelligently talking with you or speaking.
yeah. So there's no real communication with it. There's no interaction with it at all. It's just literally this thing that's happening. And that is more common, I think, than people realize, than what actual hauntings are. A lot of people will go, this happens at this time of the night, this happens at the end, blah, 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 and it's like, okay, is it happening at the same time? And, or is it the same kind of thing that's happening? What's moving, and that's it. And that becomes like that repetitive.
I guess, like, when you're doing an investigation, you have to be quite forensic about it, right?
You got to research. Yeah.
You've got to research, you've got to be detailed, you've got to be able to kind of put timelines in place and figure out that information, and then kind of relay that data over to the next occurrence, because otherwise you don't know if it's just relayed information over and over again. You might think that there is another haunting. And I guess the thing is we also get sucked into these TV shows that are just totally hyped up and overboard, and that's not what a normal investigation looks like by any way, shape, or form. And they just do it for the jump scares and that sort of stuff. And if you've ever actually been on a tour before, you've been on an investigation yourself, you'll know that it's actually not like that. You can have some pretty amazing things happen, and you can have some pretty scary things happen. But at the same time, if your perspective is that is real, then everything else about it is skewed, right?
Yeah. And it's also to the point where, when these things happen, you've got to, like, as an investigator, you've got to kind of go back. You can't just do one night. And this is the really sad part about when you do an investigation. You go there for one night, and then you go, oh, we've had all this great information, or we've had all this activity, and then you go away and go, wow. But the problem is, you need to be able to go back over time through, and just keep going back and gathering that information, so you can kind of put it all together and go, oh, okay, so this is just a time loop, this is just continuous, this is different, or this is like, you can say, okay, this is possibly somebody that's trying to interact with us, this is a time loop, this is, so it's really hard, as investigators, if we only go to a place once or twice, because I don't believe you can really gather the true information for that place. It's
I love it, and I love your perspective on this, because you're very attuned with the paranormal stuff, and you've been involved with this kind of industry for such a long time. And I love that you bring this kind of level of scientific evaluation to it as well. It's very much like, oh yeah, sure, we have experiences and encounters, but how about A, B, C, D? What does this look like? How does the data show us this? What are the statistics around it look like? What is the metrics and the numbers kind of showing us as to whether or not we categorize it as intelligent communication? Is there a portal here? Is there an energy source? What does this look like?
Dark, is it like, these are definite, and like we're saying, along with the research, not only do you research the property, the house, but you also got to research the people, because there's a lot of stuff that could be connected to people, not the property, not the house. Or it could be, somebody's gone and brought themselves a brand new antique vase and comes in and all this activity's happening. You're like, yeah.
That'd be the vase.
It could be the vase, mate. And we know that, one of the investigations that we did back in New Zealand was a woman that worked at the animal rescue at the SPCA, which was an old mental health building, and it was like, she was like, oh, there's something in the house, but we kind of boiled down to the fact that she had actually brought something with her. And that was an investigation and a half. And you want to see an apparition? That was an apparition.
Oh, wow.
Hey, that made us squeal.
Hold on. Okay, we're going to actually talk about that, because that That was scary. That was
Oh my
the
God,
house was lovely until we left the house, and that was scary afterwards. And I haven't even thought about that story for quite a while. So we're totally talking about that. That was up by my house. But I've got a couple of comments from the indescribable octo man. Okay, so I love that definition. That was very, very cool. So the indescribable octo man says, I live in New England, Massachusetts. The house was built in the 1800s. It's old. Laugh out loud. My grandparents' house. Okay, cool. They've passed years ago, and I live here now. When I was touched by the cold hand from beneath the bed, I was scared, I won't lie, but I reached out to it. When it let go, I touched it again after it pulled away. Not entirely sure why. It's fucking crazy. What? Oh my God, that is like nightmare fuel. Oh, there's a random hand trying to grab me from under the bed. I might just give that puppy a wee
I'm just
tickle.
gonna hold my hand. Hold my hand. Yeah, that's not what I do.
Just want to hold hands? Is that what you want to do? He said it scared me, but it felt like it was not evil, so I chose to not fear it. Okay.
Okay, well, you can kind of, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but there are those moments, right? Especially
but
that it's your grandparents' house as well. There are those moments where when you tell that story to anyone, they're just like, what the hell are you doing touching a random hand under your bed? But when you're in that environment, sometimes you just feel safe, or you just feel love, or you just feel like that's what you should do. And it doesn't mean that
it's not not
always evil, right? It's not always demons, it's not always evil.
Yeah. There's a very strong thing between, people be like, oh, it's a demonic thing, or it's a dark entity, or or it's just a trickster or whatever. People are very, very quick to jump onto it's a demon. And all the years that I've done investigations and such like that, there are very few that I can honestly say that this is a demonic presence. The rest of them, you're just like, it's angry, it's a piss off like entity or whatever. It's not demonic. So there's that real thing. The growling octoman, I would honestly just be a little bit careful with that. Burn some sage. I don't know what you're into. Burn some sage, open some windows, get a bell, ring it in every side at one end of your house, ring it in every corner of the room, and then walk out the door, do the other room, and then walk it out the door, open up all the doors and windows, put little tea light candles down just by your windows. That would be the only concern for me. Yeah. And you shadow me and I'm just like, oh, piss off, mate. I know people get freaked out with them. I get pissed off with them sometimes. They're like, ugh. I'm like, no.
I have no time for you.
I'm too tired. Just go away.
Well, actually, I love that you bring up shadow men or shadow people, because that's our next type of paranormal entity. They're often described as dark, shadowy figures, and that these people see out of the corner of their eyes or in darker environments, right? Also, Hat Man with the large kind of
George
on George, aka George, that we used to have in our house, and that we used to get really grumpy at. And I kind of feel a bit bad for him now, because we used to scream and yell at him and swear at him and cuss him to,
give us a fright, like, God.
And we get so grumpy. And maybe he's like sitting in a corner just going, I'm just trying to be a hat man. This is my job, man. But yeah, shadow people, I mean, and it's interesting, right? There are people out there and podcasters that have done like so many episodes on shadow people, because it's becoming a real commonality, right? There's a lot of occurrences of seeing shadow.
I think maybe it's because people are probably going, I'm seeing something, but I can't say anything, where it's a lot more accepting to turn around and go, hey, I've got this shadow that that like moves, or slinks down, or there's definitely, I think there's a definite like dark and a dark energy and a lighter energy with some of the shadow figures. I don't believe that all of the shadow figures are a dark entity and they're all bad. Like it's just, yeah, you know, there's that definite, you know, I mean, you know, we've had interactions with shadow figures where you've gone, oh my God, that was scary as hell. And other ones where you're just like, I don't feel anything, but you're just kind of annoying me and you gave me a fright. Can you just not do that? And they've kind of backed off. You know what I mean? And we've done the same with the kids as well. You know, when they've come in, you know, my granddaughter had one that used to play peekaboo out of the side of the book thing. And I said to her, I said, you need to tell it to stay away and that you're frightening you. And she did, and it's never happened again. You know, so it's, yeah, so there's that kind of side. You know, you've also got your, you know, your little shadow animals. You know, we've had shadow cats and stuff like that in the house. You know, more than once. You know, we've had them. You're kind of like, oh, okay.
Do you think these shadow entities? Do you think part of this kind of this big lump of shadow entities are actually just a different form of what an apparition would be? They're just maybe they've got some sort of dimensional change to them or some sort
possibly.
of
Yeah, possibly. I mean, that's it. It's yeah, it's just another way of showing themselves. You know, maybe they don't have that full energy to show themselves as an actual apparition, you know, because we know you know, it takes a lot of energy for these apparitions to show themselves. It takes a lot of energy for a poltergeist activity. You know, it's not just like a little kind of a shove or something, you know. So, you know, so that is something that, you know, through research and, you know, everybody is learning that, you know, there is this activity and stuff there. So, and that's it. People say that ghosts are sometimes, you know, like dimensional or whatever. So, you know, there's still so much that we don't know. Nobody can go, I'm the expert, it's this way or it's this way. I don't believe that. Nobody knows. We all go in, you know, we research and we share that research and we, you know, we learn from each other by going, hey, I saw this happened, I used this happened. So, you know, you can get 20 investigators into one, you know, if you put them into one building, every single one are going to come out with something different.
Yes.
You know, so they're all going to have their own preconceptions of what that entity is, or, you know, how to make contact with it and stuff like that. And that is great. And that is okay. You know, this is kind of one of the things that we want to get through to the, you know, with Cryptid Women's industry, you know, industry here is like, it doesn't matter if you have different ways of doing things. If your results are different, it doesn't matter. Discuss them and just, and learn from them. So
have open conversation, right? It's not a right or wrong situation. And when you're talking about the supernatural, there can't be a right or wrong situation because
nobody knows
things differently. Yeah, exactly. Like Brittany said, well, have you got an entire carcass of a Bigfoot? Have you been studying how it washes and swims and climbs? No, you're not an expert. You can't be an expert in that because we
still all researching
yet. Absolutely. And the same thing goes for paranormal stuff. Yeah, you can be very experienced in what you're doing and you can be researching the hell out of it. We can't be experts in it. We can't know everything because we simply don't know.
I know. And you can get two clairvoyants or people that are in the same room and they will give you different results. It could be similar or it could be completely different. You know, you can have two people going, I'm talking to this entity, I'm talking to this entity, different, you know. So it's and I think that's all to do with your own personal, not so much your beliefs, but your own personal kind of how you perceive it, how you want to receive it as well.
How you want to receive it.
That's a big part of it. How do you want to receive what these are? I think that's a big part of it. And if you go in there with, oh my God, this is going to be fearful, then they're going to be like, hey man, I'm going to have fun with this one.
Well, okay then, you asked for it.
Here we are.
You put the fear on and I'll give you reason to be fearful. I love that. That's really good advice. So Jules, what sort of advice would you give to people? Sorry, just before we get into this, before I ask this question, Jules is like, I'm really tired. You lead it. You'll be fine. So now I'm making her do it all. Anyway, this is great. So what sort of advice would you give to people that are going on maybe like an investigative tour, or they're part of a group that they're going to go and do this paranormal kind of investigation. Maybe somebody that's not experienced, maybe somebody that was in my shoes when we first went to the asylum in Ballarat in Australia, that really didn't know much and was possibly freaking the crap out of themselves.
Oh, they had fun with you, didn't they?
Peeing themselves a little bit. How, what sort of advice would you give someone?
Oh, look, I reckon if you're a newbie, absolutely do the tours. Like, research the tours, make sure they've got really good reviews, and well, not so much the reviews, but they know what they're doing. There's a difference between a tour. A tour will take you into an asylum, talk about ghost stories, and be like, oh, this thing happened here and this happened here, and they'll give you a tour through it. An investigation is when you go in. So a lot of people go, oh, I'm going to do an investigation, but they pick a tour and they don't realize that there's a real difference there. So your tour is basically you're going in with equipment, like your REM pods, like your, I know, your other stuff.
Dowsing rods.
Dowsing rods, everything like that. You go in with equipment with the idea of going to make contact with.
So that's an investigation, right? An investigation is when you take your equipment and you go in and you do that.
So like if you're a new man, go and do as many of those as you can, because that way you're with experienced people.
Yeah.
You get to learn the equipment. You can go and buy yourself some equipment on Amazon and stuff. It's just like you don't need to buy $400 pieces of equipment. You can buy a $30 remote. You can buy this. It's like if you want to know about equipment and stuff and good stuff, give us a DM. We can tell you where to go and get stuff. And, we don't make anything from it, but, you don't need a lot. Cat balls. Oh, my God. Light up cat balls. I think we paid $7 for them. We have so much fun with these cat balls. Look at that. Look at that. It's just a tiny wee thing.
It's broken. Excellent. I better pay another $7. There it is.
There you go.
Flashing sensor.
Little flashing
I'm just holding up a cat ball for everyone that's just listening to this. And essentially, it's just got a button on the top. And when the entity has enough energy, it touches it, and it's literally got to push it enough to make the lights go off. And that's how you know you've got some sort of activity.
We had some amazing activity with an entity, with a presence at Aradale, and just the fun that we had with these cat balls and this entity, whatever we want to call him. We had so much fun with. He had a sense of humor. He was super intelligent, and he had a sense of humor, and that came through. We were laughing. It was so funny, the interaction that we had with him, and never quite had an interaction like that before. It was it was quite fun.
And it was amazing because also the tour guide there was she was just sitting there going, "This never happens." And literally, this cat ball was like flinging across the floor, and like Juliet's like, oh, can you make it do it again? And it's like, no, like the
and I'm trying to film it to prove it. Like, okay, cool. So every time I brought up my camera to film it, it would stop. I'm like, dude, can you do it again? So I'd have my camera down, and next time it would happen again. As soon as I bring my camera up, it would stop. And so it was just like this real funny interaction, and he was coming across as being really funny. He thought it was really funny, and eventually I was like, please, I've got my camera ready, can you just do it again for me? Sure enough, cat ball started moving, cat ball started flashing, and I'm fixed. And you could literally feel the laughter. We were laughing. You could feel that laughter within us, like almost from his presence, like the joy and the laughter that he was having. So
it was really interesting.
It was really insane. It was funny. Yeah, it was.
And that was in the middle of their activity space. At Aradale Asylum, and so like all of the windows had been carved and like etched out. Like there was like lots of different kind of drawings and artwork and words and stuff. And then we found some words on the outside of the window, and we were like, how the hell did you even get to the outside of the window? It
These
was like
things got bolted and locked, barred.
and they
Yeah,
have bars on them, and we were like, it is etched on the outside of the glass.
yeah.
That is
Hanging off like Mothman.
yeah, that was really, really cool. Yeah, so if you want to know any other information about equipment to use and stuff like that, definitely get in touch with us. That's what we do at Cryptid Women's Society within the members portal as well. It's a perfect place to come and ask those questions and talk to women that are actually investigating all the time.
Yeah, and the guys on the
And that sort of
outside, if
stuff.
you want to know, just
Yeah.
DM us and we'll
Yeah,
help you. You
100%.
know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a lot of
I think that's really great advice, Jules, because like, and I'll mention this story really quickly about when we went to Toowoomba Cemetery, and I know we've
yeah, that's what I
spoken
was
about
gonna
this
say.
a couple of times,
Yeah.
where we snuck into the cemetery and we ended up kind of joining an investigational tour, I guess, and they were doing a paranormal investigation in one of the biggest cemeteries in Australia. It's in Brisbane. It's one of the oldest as well, very well known for the entities that are there, thousands upon thousands of people.
Vampires, soldiers,
Yeah,
nasty
name
stuff.
it.
Yeah, all
Apparently Jack the Ripper maybe there
Jack
as
the
well.
Ripper, possibly.
Yeah, pretty gnarly stuff. And so we went and did our paranormal investigation. We had some pretty crazy stuff happen, and on our way out, we kind of merged with this tour group or this investigation group leaving, and scared the living crap out of the poor lady that was handing out pamphlets for the next one. And she just looked at us like, where the hell did you all come from? We were like, thank you. But I think the one thing that kind of really got me at the end, and I think probably got you as well, Jules, is we stood there doing a cleanse. We knew we needed to cleanse and make sure every single piece of energy stayed in that cemetery, because we had some pretty gnarly occurrences happen within that space. And as we were leaving, we decided we'd do a cleanse on the outside of the gates. And these women were standing there going, what are you girls doing? They had just been in that cemetery doing that investigation. And we're like, we're doing a cleanse. And they went, oh, what's that?
And the investigators just let all these people leave. There was like nothing. Yeah.
And there was bad energy in there. And Juliet had a terrible experience in there, one of the worst she's ever experienced. And they were literally all going home. All of these investigators in quotation marks, were going home without doing any sort of cleansing, any sort of leaving that energy there. And so we brought these women into our circle with us and did a cleanse together. And I think that's the one thing that we have to remember. Doesn't matter what your belief system is, whether or not you're a religious person or a spiritual person or whatever that kind of belief system looks like, you must understand that you're dealing with powerful spiritual entities. Full stop. So if you do not put protections in place, you are vulnerable. You are like a giant light in the middle of darkness if you are open to it. And all of those entities will go, ooh, like a moth to the flame. They are going to come to you and be stuck to you. And that is why when we do our starting protection, we do a pray, and we always say, we are like Teflon, non-stick.
Yeah, non-stick. Yeah. So I mean, and that is something that you must, like, when you're contacting these investigation groups and stuff that are doing all these investigations, ask them, do they do protection before and after? Like, you must protect yourself before you walk into these places. You must protect yourself when you come out. If they don't do that, then you don't go.
Yeah, great.
Or
great
if
advice.
you choose to do it, you learn to protect yourself before you go in there, and when you come out, what to do. And it's really simple stuff, you know. It's like, like you said, Lisa and stuff will do a prayer. I'm not brought up in the church, but I still believe in that, that prayer to keep us safe, and I do my own little thing, and it's one of those things that you must do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's not rocket science, right? There's lots of people out there that will teach you how to do protection and that sort of stuff and cleanse afterwards.
Yeah. Again, if you need any ideas, like we do all that stuff. That's kind of some of the stuff that we do. We can send you ideas. It does, like we said, does not matter what your belief system is. You can use anything from crystals to your sage to prayer to whatever you want, you know, what resonates with you, but you must have something when you're in those
Yes.
spaces. Yeah.
100%, 100%. Hey, the indescribable Octoman says, my friend was followed home from Freetown State Forest, which is one of the most haunted places in the state.
Oh, you need to send them back. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Where he's come from.
Oh.
Send them back. Just go outside. Send back. So off you go.
like that time when we were driving home at like 2 a.m. in the morning, and Juliet was like, stop the car, there's something in the car with us. And so we pulled over, we opened all the windows, and she's like, you need to go home, get out of here, you are not coming home with us, blah blah. That's a whole different story. It was an entity, it was a ghost or whatever.
A photo of it. We got a damn photo
We've got
of
a
it.
photo.
And
Yeah.
literally where we stopped, which is in the middle of nowhere, wound down the window, and there was this mankiest white stray cat just laying there, just like glaring at us. And we're like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh, do you want me to show you the photo?
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. Should we tell, let's tell that, no, wait, hang on. Before we tell you the story of Farron House, because Farron House was pretty intense, right? There's a lot more to it. I've got a video of some orbs and stuff as well that I'll put up, but let's just talk about Chester Road, right? Chester Road is the story that you were telling before, Jules, where we went into this woman, her name was Gina. She invited us over to do an investigation, and she was working at the SPCA in Wellington, which is in fact the old fever hospital. Essentially, hundreds of people died in that hospital from whatever it came to New Zealand, a plague or a whatever it was.
Scarlet fever or
Scarlet fever or something, yeah. It went in, it turned into an asylum as well. It's been through so many different hands. They now do, and then obviously on top of all of the animals dying through the SPCA as well. Kathy McBride, who is a quite well-known paranormal investigator and clairvoyant in Wellington here, and is one of our friends, does a Halloween investigation there, and she's invited me to go along, and I'm like, I don't know.
Pet cemetery, here we come.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. But yeah, she goes and does investigations there with her group, New Zealand Paranormal, quite often. And she said there's a lot of activity there and a lot of entities and that sort of stuff. And so we did this investigation at Gina's house in Chester Road up in the Wairarapa here, 3 years ago or thereabouts?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. And when we first started, it was quite nice, right?
It was very gentle.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
We got a couple of videos of orbs flying past the camera and that sort of stuff, but it was really just nice and relaxed. It was a very old house, 1800s, 1860, I think it was built, or somewhere around there. So one of the very first farmhouses to be built. And she was working at the SPCA at this fever hospital at the time. And she was like, oh, I just wanted to see what's going on because some things are shifting, you know, i.e. objects on her mantelpiece above her fireplace, and things were starting to move around. And so she was like, come on over. And so we did it. It was one of our first investigations together, right?
Yeah. For somebody else, you know, it was like, to actually go in.
And I think the only real activity in the house was we got some video footage of some orbs flying around. There was some movement of the cat balls and obviously some oh God, brain power going down. I need more coffee.
What she was telling us we weren't feeling in the house.
That's what I mean. Yeah, there was a little bit of movement as far as like the cat balls rolling and that sort of stuff, but nothing major going on, right?
Yeah.
And she said somebody else had been in and said that there was potentially like a highway through there, like a portal where things were coming in and stepping out and then going back onto that highway, right? And so we kind of went, okay, cool. Well, that was fine. That was a nice investigation. We spent a couple of hours kind of, you know, detailing some stuff and collecting some data. And then we went, okay, we're going to jump in the car and we'll go.
But then we did a cleanse for our house, remember?
Oh,
we didn't basically went in and was like, okay, let's shift if there is any, because she was kind of getting to the point where it was starting to bother her. She was just like, I'm a bit scared. So we did this, basically, we did a cleanse of the house and outside the house. And we were basically, whatever there was there, we're like, you are now outside the boundary of this property. And, and so that's what we did. We pushed whatever was there out, and you're not welcome in here anymore. Basically, here's the boundary, do not cross it. So that was basically where it ended, or so we thought.
And then we hopped in the car. And essentially we reversed out of her driveway, took a left-hand turn and reversed back onto the road so that we could drive forward.
Yeah, by this time, it was late at night, wasn't it? It was pretty late.
It was very late. There was no moon out. It was incredibly dark and really cold. I was driving, so I was in the driver's seat and Juliet was in the passenger seat. And basically I reversed out and pulled out onto the road, and Juliet said some very, very bad words. And I thought we had squashed a bunny. I was like, oh my God, what is happening? She's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
So what it was this very kind of angry looking man this apparition was standing in the road. And as we backed out, he was right by my window and just like looking in it, like I lost it. Lisa's like, oh my God. So whatever it was that was on that property, we had pushed out, and he was pretty pissed. He was like, oh my God, like it gave me the biggest fright. Like, yeah, it was just like this big man, just angry man, just standing there. Like he probably would have been like well over like 6'3". Big, huge. It was just, yeah, like, even now I'm just like going, oh, okay, that's right, I remember his face. It was just, yeah, he was just there. It was like, oh my God, that was, yeah.
Yeah, and then the interesting thing is then we went down to the cemetery.
We're like, woo, okay, we gathered ourselves and went, okay, let's go. We're driving down. Oh, look, there's a cemetery. Let's go there.
There's something a little bit wrong with you when you go to a cemetery after that. It was so funny. But the worst part is, I'm like, okay, we're fine. And Juliet's like, holy crap, that was like really scary. We pulled over and we turned the light on. She goes, oh! Not in a good mind frame after that.
Yeah. It was not good. So yeah, it was fine. It was, yeah,
but really interesting, right? Because afterwards, right? So what, 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, she actually sent me a message saying, what did you girls do? Because I've had some visits. And obviously we pushed this spirit and this entity out of the land that he thought he should be on. But we don't think he was actually associated to the land, right? We believe that he was brought back from the hospital that she was working at the SPCA at the time. And she said she'd had a couple of nightmares where she saw a dark figure and it looked like a man and this sort of stuff. And so we gave her some advice around cleansing her and detaching, and forcing something to stay in the hospital that, she was visiting.
How to protect herself while she was at work. So, yeah.
Sure. And so after that's died down, she hasn't had any other occurrences as far as I know. But it just shows you that when, you're dealing with spiritual entities that are very powerful and a lot of the time don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want to have to shift on or vacate.
Yeah, and I suppose that's it. It's like, and it is very common for people to go in and do investigations in a place, and that activity just heightens and then gets worse and worse and worse. And it's because you're feeding it, and it's because like you're going in there sometimes, not every time, but you're going in there with the wrong intentions of going into. You don't go in to aggravate these spirits. And that does my head in when you get people that go in and do investigations and they try to aggravate the spirits. You're just asking for trouble. It may not come back on you, but it will come back on someone. So you are causing a problem for somebody else. Yes. So you always go into these places, research and investigations. You always do it with the utmost respect.
Yep.
It's yeah, because you can, you can manifest this like normal kind of everyday, hey, I'm just hanging around spirit, into something negative if you start feeding it, and then other people start feeding it. And we've seen this happen, people coming in and going, oh, there's a spirit here that does this, there's a spirit here that does this, and the more people that do it, so the spirit's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. So it's not actually the spirit doing that, it's the manifestation. What you're doing is starting to cause this activity. So yeah, it's a very
Absolutely.
fine line. It's a very, very fine line.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, hey, so let's talk about Fareham House. Do you remember Fareham House?
Oh, I do remember Firm
Oh,
House.
I do.
Yeah.
So Fareham House was an old boarding house. It actually is in the Wairarapa up here. Obviously, Jules came over and we did a couple of investigations while we're here. We did about 10. We were like, we've only got it like 3 days together. Let's do as much as humanly possible. Yeah, so we went to Fareham House, which was an old boarding house, a girls' home essentially for wayward youth. And it turned out to be a Māori girls' home, and the homes for Indigenous people in New Zealand and Australia and across the world tended to have a lot of SA and abuse and bad things that happened. And that obviously holds a whole heap of negative energy in these spaces. So we were lucky enough to be able to go in there at nighttime. While some of the occupants were sleeping, like the house owners were sleeping. And we did an investigation in this amazing old, beautiful, like 1860s house, right? One of the very first mansions built up in the Wairarapa here. And we've got some really cool video footage that we're putting together for the CWS field files that we will release. Hopefully we'll get it released really, really soon, like in the next couple of weeks, and you'll be able to see all of this video footage and the evidence that we caught on camera and that sort of stuff as well, which would be very, very cool. But yeah, this was set on like 10 acres or more than that, 25 acres.
It was bigger, but yeah, it was bigger originally, and then it's just kind of come down.
Yeah.
The land is sold over time. So
And it's some really crazy things happened in that space. We oh gosh, like where do you start, right? Apparently there was one of the young men, or one of the sons, took his own life in a doorway. And so we stood there and filmed that doorway and just had a ridiculous amount of orbs flying across the video. And
at us, it was really bizarre, because we're trying to be like, hey, is it dust? Is it this? We did everything to debunk it, but some of them were like, they just moved oddly, and they kind of came and talked to it, and they would fly at you, and you're like, whoa, okay. Even though you're filming it, you're still like going, oh my God.
You want me to show this video? Do you want to?
I don't know which one you got. Show it.
Do you want to show the video of the orbs? Okay, bear with me. We're going to put this video on. This is the first time it's actually ever been shown. So bear with me. These are the munchkins. They're so cute. Let's open this one up and see where it's at. Hold, please. Alrighty. So this was one of the doorways.
Odd feeling going into that other room in the array. That was
it was really, really strange.
Yeah,
very, very
literally
strange.
crossed that through that threshold, and like all that, like even now, like the hair in the back of my neck, because I was just like, oh, that's right.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's I don't know if oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry, team. Sorry, team. Oh, I'm gonna make it bigger. No, I'm not. Okay, we're gonna play. I don't know what I'm doing, and how do I make it bigger?
I think it's gonna
that one. Is that the big one? Oh, there's the big one. God, I'm so sorry. It takes me so long to do things. Jesus, really? Seriously? Okay, so have a wee watch of this, and I was just standing in the background, and Juliet's filming this on her iPhone, right?
Yeah, just on my iPhone. So they all kind of seem a bit blue, and then they suddenly become a lot brighter, and you can start seeing them.
real thick one that came across when I first did it.
There's a lot of energy right here, especially like
This here.
Yeah. Whoa,
there we
look
go.
at that big one.
Hey.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, and so apparently a lot of people see apparitions and that sort of stuff through this doorway, and you can see the energy through there, the orbs.
Oh, he's back.
Very clear.
Yeah, and it was just really odd behavior, you know. We were just like looking around for insects and dust, and it literally was not doing what dust does, you know what I mean? It's just
Oh gosh,
no
yeah,
wind anywhere. It was
I forgot how amazing this footage is.
yeah. There's some real crazy ones.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of
I mean, there's so much energy in this house with so many girls and people that have gone
tell
through
what the
this.
dust and that kind of stuff is. You can make out dust and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Jeepers. I hope everyone watching this is seeing this video now.
I think that one was the bug that shot down there. So
yeah.
it was a big dark final, like, oh, that's a bug.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Could you
oh my God.
Could you come forward again? Could you come towards the phone again?
Yeah.
Could you show yourself?
Oh, there you go. Oh, wow.
Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was insane. Yeah, that house was there was some amazing, like even upstairs, there was just some like moments.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that was kind of like, and that happened quite early on in the night where we just stood there and looking at the footage afterwards, we didn't realize it was that full on. And iPhones take the most amazing videos as far as paranormal stuff goes, right?
Yeah. And it was, there's different areas where it was like calm, you know, it was just kind of like, you know, you didn't really feel much, but then you went into other areas and it was dark.
Like in the library. The library was, there was some pretty bad juju in the library. Do you remember walking through the books?
Yeah. There was like, literally, we would have like all our hairs on our arms, you'd have goosebumps, and you literally felt like something kind of like clamped onto you. It was, there was definitely, there was one that was in the car, just saying, now that I'm thinking back to it. And it was just like, you're just like, get off, like literally you're like, get off of me. And it was just like this whole kind of it was very interesting.
It was very, very, very active house, right? Very active house. And there was a couple of points that we kind of put together and realized that there was some untoward stuff going on and some untruths happening in that space.
There was, and anyone who knows what's happened in any of these boarding schools and stuff with Indigenous people, whether it be New Zealand, Australia, America, you know, it's all the same. They suffered horrific abuse.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually contacted by one of the entities there, one of the girls that was there. And man, she made me cry my eyes out.
Yeah, you did. We were upstairs. I think we were upstairs in a room, and next minute Lisa was just sobbing. She was absolutely sobbing, and she was like, "Oh my God!" And so we had to leave that space,
she was calling us upstairs. She was like, "Come to the attic," and she was talking in my head, going, "Help me, come up," and she was just so upset, and I was like, "Okay, I'm coming." And so we had to go all the way up to the attic, and the attic was a converted bedroom essentially, and it was at the top, and it had a window that would look straight down into the courtyard where all of the girls would go and work and that sort of stuff. And it turns out, we found out afterwards that there was a girl that was locked up there for months and months, and it must have been her, because she was telling me, help me, you have to get me out, come up. And then also we started getting words and full sentences on the ghost tube, on the where you get the messages through on the app or whatever, saying X man, death, killing, murder, all of this sort of stuff, very, very clearly that something happened with an axe or with the man that had the axe.
Yeah.
And her window looks straight down to a shed, which used to be the old woodshed.
Yeah, yeah. So it's almost like she had witnessed something. Okay, it was just like, yeah, it was pretty intense. And then we went into one of the buildings outside, and boy, did we got abused as soon as we walked
No,
in.
you got abused.
Oh, I got
Not
abused.
me. You did. Yeah, you got told off something shocking.
Like it was like full on sentences. It's like, why are you here? What are you doing? It was like really, really intense. She wanted us, it was a woman, she wanted us out. It's like, get out, this is my space, you are not welcome here. And so we kind of were like, okay, cool, this is your space, and we didn't mean to upset you, and we backed out of that space for her.
That was actually like the PE room or something like that.
It was like the little hall and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a small hall, where they used to do activities and stuff like that. But
very angry.
Was like, I was 1 foot in that door and got slammed. I was like, damn, okay. Yeah, and we literally did one walk and we just walked straight out. I was like, yeah, and it was just constantly, get out, get out, get out. You're not welcome here. And yeah, it was like, why are you here? What are you doing here? It was very, 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 very angry.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you never know what you're going to get, right? Like you kind of you've done the research, the historical stuff, you've listened to all the other stories and the eyewitness accounts, and they've had investigators go into this place a couple of times before and stuff. And we kind of listened to those stories and we went, okay, cool. We kind of know what we're going in for. But man, that whole 5 hours or whatever we spent doing that was intense. Really intense.
And you could feel the darkness and that, and I don't mean that like in a negative interview, I just you could feel the trauma that was there, and that's probably the right word, is that you could literally feel that trauma when you went in there, the heaviness and the sadness, and and we really like kind of absorbed that to a point. It took us a bit to be like, okay, we just need to kind of let this go.
Yeah. But we didn't let that go because something got in the car with us.
Something did get in the car with, and it was really funny because we got to the car and I'm like, no. I'm like, bugger off, there's somebody here. I was like, yeah, I can feel you. You can just bugger off, get out. And I'm just like, open the door and shut the door really fast. Like, no, shut the door, like, get out, okay. So like, okay, we can leave.
Well, yeah. And obviously she didn't get rid of it.
She did not leave.
It snuck in good and proper. So we were like, okay, cool. We did our cleanse and our protection stuff and all that sort of stuff, said thank you, and we left them all there and we drove over.
We didn't do the car. That was our mistake.
No,
we did it afterwards. We didn't bless the car.
We didn't bless the car. Oh, it was the car. It was the car. Who bloody blesses a car? Anyway, so apparently us now.
Damn it.
Apparently us now. So we're driving away. You got to remember, like, we're in the middle of like rural nowhere land. There's no light pollution, so it's pretty dark.
Like a little town of 3 shops, and then off you go.
Yeah. Like there's nothing there, and so we ended up. We decided we would drive over the big hill that separated us from the main city, because we'd go to the airport the next morning. So that's cool. We'll drive the hill at 3 a.m. or whatever. Not a problem. There won't be any traffic, and it's a huge hill, right? And so we left the town, Featherston. We started driving along the highway to get up into this hill. And as you start drive along, there's no houses, there's no nothing. You're in rural town of nowhere man's land, and you're starting to go up a mountain range, right? Anyway, so we're driving up here. We're about 5 minutes into it, and Juliet goes, oh my God, there's something in here with us. You need to pull over. And I was like, fuck's sake, man, we're in the middle of nowhere. We're pulling over onto the side of a highway about to go up a hill. It was really dangerous, right? It's not safe. It's dark. There's logging trucks that come over. Like, this is not a good space to be in right now. But she was like, pull over, it's not leaving. And so I pulled over and I was like, okay, cool, let's just pull over. And Juliet's winding down the windows.
I'm going, get out of here. Like, I'm just like literally going, you are not working here. You need to leave. You need to leave. You need to leave. And then it was just like, it was almost like I felt hands. And I'm just like, whoa, we got to go. What do you want, sweetie?
She's also talking to her granddaughter right now.
My grandson.
Grandson. Not just a go.
True. And I was like, oh my God. I was just like, stop the car. It's got to go.
So I pulled over to the side, right? And so Juliet started winding down the windows. She was like, wind them down. She started doing her prayers and whatever else she was saying, basically trying to get rid of this entity. And she's like, okay, I think it's gone. And she looks over out her passenger side window, which is down, right? It's already down because we're getting rid of the ghosty roasty. She looks out that window and goes, huh, a cat.
A white, dirty cat.
Sitting there, looking at her through the window in the middle of nowhere. This white cat just sitting there like, hello. And Juliet goes, oh my God, it's a cat. Like, this is me sitting in the driver's seat going, what the fuck is wrong with you? She's going, oh my God, it's a cat. My granddaughter will love it. I'm going to take a photo of it. So she gets her camera and I'm like just sitting here going, this is weird, man. This should not be happening right now. Anyway, so she's like, I'm going to take a photo of it. She turns around out the passenger side window and takes a photo of this cat for her granddaughter. Remember, the window is down. We wind up the window. She's like, it's all gone. Okay, off we go. So we drive over the hill. Life is fine. We pull up to the hotel, go to sleep, wake up in the morning and drive to the airport to drop Juliet off so she can go back to Australia. As we're sitting in the car park of the airport, we're like, oh my God, let's have a look at the photos and the bits and pieces from the investigation last night. And so we're going through, we're looking at that amazing orb video that you just saw. We're looking at some other bits and pieces that we got. And she goes, oh my God, what about the photo of the cat? Dude, have you seen the photo of the cat? And we just stood there going, holy crap. This is insane. Do you want to see the photo of the cat?
Photo of the cat. Pretty cat.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to show you right now. And if you're not seeing this, if you're just listening to this, go over to YouTube and I'll pop it onto the social so you can see it, right? Check this out.
It's a cat. So you can see the orbs there. There's like a face like in like there was no fog. It was a clear night. The
window was down.
It was it's just a random cat.
It's this white cat sitting on the side of the road that we'd pulled over. Juliet wound her window down. There was no rain. There was no fog.
Taking a photo out the window.
Taking photos because Abby will love it.
I'm not showing Abby this one.
And we just sat there looking at this photo going, holy shamoly, that is insane. You can see two very clear orbs at the bottom. You can see what looks like a face, a girl's face in the middle here.
Yeah, it was kind of, it was very, very creepy.
Oh, and this is the first time we've shown it. We haven't put it on any socials before, anything. We've only ever told this story, but we've never shown the photos. But man, that's
after we had evicted it, we're like, get out of here. It was it was insane.
Yeah, crazy.
It was pretty funny.
That was a paranormal experience and a half, eh? Like that was absolutely insane.
Yeah, so you do like most of the time you can kind of be like, oh, you stay here, but you just get the ones that just kind of like go, oh yeah, I found you, you know.
And that whatever that entity was tried to get in the car, or obviously got in the car when you were trying to get rid of it, right? When we were leaving that property, and it wanted to come home with you to Australia.
Yeah. I would have just left on the plane. Go back.
You stay in the Wairarapa, you naughty thing.
Stay in the Wairarapa. Yeah, no, it was it was pretty Yeah, it was pretty intense, that place. So
Mm.
yeah, there was, and there was, you know, and there was definitely the sadness about that place, that you couldn't help but shift. And, you know, I think we talked about that house for a few weeks, and kind of like the feelings and stuff around it, and yeah, and the stories, and I think it was coming through the media at that time that some of the stories were coming out about that house and stuff like that. So that was one of the decisions why I think we kind of kept quiet about our investigation, because it was out of respect for these women, and yeah, we just didn't want to kind of add to that. We also didn't want to write off the back of it, you know what I mean? It was just like,
yeah, I mean, they were doing a government inquest into the atrocities that happened in housing for Indigenous girls, especially Māori girls, and Māori boys as well. And there was a whole heap of really bad stuff that was coming out in the media as far as their stories go. And a lot of them had passed away already. Didn't have the opportunity to talk about their story or, you know, share any other details, or, you know.
And it just felt wrong, kind of. Yeah, we didn't want to ride on the coattails of that and release it or anything like that. So we just kind of kept it.
And I think for us, you know, for us and kind of the intent of Cryptid Women's Society is always about respect, and that's the number one foundational kind of pillar that we work from. It's how would you love your family to have to go through something like that and then have it plastered all over social media, or, you know, anything like that. And so anytime we get we have received numerous messages from people asking us to do something or adjust something from a respect perspective, and we've always done our best to kind of help that and abide
in the right way. Yeah,
the right way. Yeah,
it's not stuff that you have to go, hey, I've gone and done this. You know, I just there's a lot of really, really good people out there that will go in and help. You know, that you know, you've got issues in your house, or you know, they don't even have to be major issues. It's just like, man, I've got the shadow person in my house and they're scaring the shit out of me. Not that they're doing anything bad. You're like, okay, you know, it's all about a lot of it's about confidence, and having that confidence to deal with it and knowing what to do. So that's kind of the angle that we come from. It's like, you don't need to go in and have a big exorcist in the house, you know, and you know,
it all depends on who you're dealing with, doesn't it? You know, and what you're dealing with, and you got to have the right person for the right job.
Yeah, and it's not always the same person. You know what I mean? Like, different people deal. You know, there are really strong male energies that need a male to come in and be like, right, you need to go, and then there's like female energies where you need a woman to come in.
For sure.
So it's a lot of, there's so much to it. There is so much to it. But you know, I love the paranormal investigation. I haven't been on one for ages, and I've got a real itch to go and do some stuff at the moment. So
I'll be hanging out in a cemetery.
Go visit some cemeteries, and yeah. So if anybody's in Melbourne and wants to go do a ghost tour, well, ghost investigation.
Join me.
Got a few places to go.
Oh wow, so those are two like of our top investigations, right? They were a while ago, but they were really they set the tone for what we expected on our next investigation.
Right? I mean, because like, you know, like we said, we've done I've done investigations for years, and we've had paranormal activity, you know, like at our houses and other places that we've gone to. But it was kind of like one of the first times that we started recording with the purpose of putting it for Cryptid Women's Society.
Sure.
So it wasn't like the first time that we've done stuff. It was just like the first time that we've done it with the intention to kind of share. So, but yeah, no, we have definitely had some insane encounters. And
hey, how about when we went to J Ward? You remember going to J Ward? So J Ward was the jail in Ballarat next to Arrowdale Asylum, and a lot of the people that were jailed ended up going to the hospital in
which they deny, which is really interesting. When you speak to the Arrowdale, like the caretakers of Arrowdale, and done that, and the historians and of J Ward, they both literally turned around and told us that there's no real connection between these prisoners and the hospital, and not many of them crossed over, or virtually nobody crossed over. This was the jail. This is where they went. If they were crazy, they were sent to Aradale, and there was like no crossover. And Lisa and I were like, yeah, that's not really kind of from the evidence that we were collecting. And, you know, Lisa mentioned before we had etchings and scratchings in these windows and on the walls of drawings. And one of them was the galleon ship. Remember, there was like a, you know, like a Spanish style ship that was etched into the windows, and there was like other bits and pieces and different drawings and sayings and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then we went to J Ward, and what did we find on their brick wall was this giant freaking Spanish galleon ship.
Yeah,
And
exactly the same. Exactly the same.
Drawn, like we had the photo, we saw the ship, it was drawn exactly the same. And then even when you go into the historical part upstairs, you found pictures again up there. It was, yeah.
And so we just stood there going, they were obviously crossed over. There was people that were housed in the jail that went to the hospital and were housed in the hospital at the same, and like, how are we saying that this is not connected in any way? And they were very, very clear on the fact that nobody ever crossed over.
And they got when we questioned it, they got quite annoyed with us. He got very grumpy with us. He didn't like us questioning a lot of stuff, which we found really interesting.
Because also Juliet asked the tour guide at J Ward why there was a Spanish galleon ship carved into the wall behind the lemon tree.
Yeah, they put that to anything that they didn't want people to see. They put lemon trees in front of them. So later on, like, oh, what's behind here? We go behind the lemon tree. We're like, oh my god, look at this painting, and this kind of etching, and we're taking photos of it. And he got angry. He literally got angry at us, to the point where other people were like, the other woman was like, wow, okay, what'd you girls do? And we're like, took a photo.
Of a Spanish galleon ship. There was also a swastika.
A swastika, which was done before the Germans, before the war, you know, before all of this. It was done in the like early, I mean, this was done in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So,
in the 1800s,
it was like
the
this
1900s.
big kind of like swastika, you know, with all these other kind of little designs and stuff. And so when we asked him about it, he was instantly like, oh, German, rah, rah. I'm like, yeah, but this was done in the early 1800s. This was well before, you know,
late 1800s.
Late 1800s, sorry. You know, this was done well before that. So the swastika, you know, as people know in history, the swastika had a completely different meaning.
Chinese.
Different countries have used that swastika sign for many different things. So it's because of what happened with Hitler and everything that it's got the, you know, the negative side of it.
100%.
But if you go right back in history, you know, even early 1800s, 1700s, there are swastikas there. Well, you know, what are called swastikas now, but you know, it's different, and we're just like, it's not a German thing, you know. But he got very, very angry.
But the issue, I think, wrapped around finding a Spanish galleon ship carved into these huge blue stone bricks.
These
and you're talking
4 foot
massive.
wide.
Yeah, 4 foot wide, like massive, huge, like giant Australian bricks that are quarried from down the road. It's carved in there, but also the swastika is carved in there, which would say or suggest that in fact the Chinese that came over to mine for gold were in fact put into that jail. And it is blatantly denied that any Chinese were ever in that jail. There were no people from Spain, no Spanish, no Portuguese, and certainly no South Americans that came to Australia on these Spanish galleon ships, and none that were housed in the jail.
Yeah, and you know, and the whole area has a really horrid history of the Chinese being over there used as slave labor and being, you know, killed, and it's
absolutely.
pretty horrendous, but not even acknowledged.
But not acknowledged.
You know,
And so that's
yeah. So it was
that was probably
really
why he got grumpy at us, because we were like, yeah, but history says that. And if we put the timelines together, we can actually connect it and say that the Chinese were here mining for gold and all these other things, but you're telling us that they were never in the jail. But obviously the swastika tells us that they were.
And the Spanish galleon and this and that. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so
and it wasn't only that, there was just like, there were writings on there that matched Aradale, you know, pictures. There was just so much. And, you know, and Lisa and I were going around the walls and photographing like these etchings and these pictures and stuff like that. And then we kind of wandered off, because I was just like, I can't listen to his crap anymore, because basically it was just like, it was doing my head in.
Rubbish.
And then he basically ran at us and started yelling at us to come back to the group. We're like, dude, what is your problem?
Yeah. Well, and this happens quite often to Juliet. She gets told off and men run at her.
And then they run away. Yeah, so it was really interesting. But again, you know, Jay Ward is just known for, I think, hanging one of the youngest people. I think he was 14.
Yeah,
a 14-year-old boy. He was in there when he was 12. Yeah, there were 12-year-old boys in there. It was mixed men's and women's. Again, like, you know, you're talking like just bricks. You know, there was no nice, they put kind of beds in there now, but there was none of that when they were there. It was horrendous conditions.
And I remember walking into when we were outside on the grass and we were looking at all the carvings and stuff on the walls, and then they were taking us inside to where the gallows were, right? And as we started kind of getting closer to the door, we both looked at each other and put our hands around our neck and just went, oh my God, I feel like we're being suffocated. Is there something? We didn't quite know where we were going.
Oh, yeah, we didn't know.
And then as we got in through the doors, we went, oh my God, it's the gallows. No wonder we're like, oh.
And I think on record, they said that only 4 people have ever been hung there. And one of them was a woman, one was a 14-year-old boy, and a couple of guys. But, you know, they're we know that's not true. That's just basically like, you know, a big cover up, because so many people went into that jail and so many people went to Aradale and they never came out. You know, there's thousands of bodies buried at Aradale. There's no record of them. There's no record of, you know, any of these people that came from China or from Spain or from wherever around the world. They were basically thrown into these places and disappeared, because there's no record of them. So how can you say that they've disappeared? You know,
and it's so similar all over the world, right? America is the same, Canada, finding, you know, huge number of people that have simply disappeared after being in that facility. And it's such an atrocity, because their families are still sitting kind of going, it wasn't that long ago, you know, you're only talking 120 years ago. And you know, throughout the last 100 years as well. So Aradale, actually the asylum opened in 1865. It was one of the largest asylums in Australia, and it stayed active for over 130 years until 1998 when it closed, and now they do tours through there. During its operational years, it said it saw 10,000 patients come through its doors, but we know that it's probably at least double that plus, being that they took people from the jail as well and a lot of other people. And there's a lot of activity in that place. Hey, do you remember at J Ward at the jail when we went down the stairs to the kitchen, and they had a underground basement kind of dugout kitchen which had like a pizza oven in it, and you know, that sort of stuff where they'd cook all their food. And there was a fair amount of activity going on there. And then the tour guide took us through to what was the only bathroom. It was the only bathroom.
Oh, it was hideous.
It was disgusting. It was literally like carved out of the ground, because you were underground by that point, carved out of the ground. It was a big oval kind of circular archway room that you would walk into. It had one little hanging light bulb in the center of the room, and then it had a bathtub at the end or wherever it was, and it was horrendous. It was all just dirt. The floor
it was a tiny room. I mean, it must have been by maybe about 3 meters by about 3 meters wide. Yeah, maybe about 4 meters by about 2.5 meters wide. There was that. It was like there was just nowhere to move in it.
And it was all dirt. The walls were dirt. It was literally dug into the ground, and one little light bulb kind of just hanging at the center there. And so basically the tour guide was like, and this was the only washroom, and they'd get one bath a week or whatever they were allowed.
Just lies. There's no way. 10,000 people in there at the time, probably more.
Yeah. And so I decided with the tour group, we'll walk up the stairs up to the museum. Come on, everyone, let's go. And Juliet decided to ask some questions to said tour guide. So I started walking up the stairs, and she asked the following question.
Oh, I can't even remember.
Do you remember?
I got yelled at so many times too. I think by this point I was just aggravating him for the sake of it. About activity in there? Was that
because you had your phone and you were like, there is some bad going on.
I was filming and there was just like so much activity, and I was like, is this dust? And I'm looking around, and like masses of orbs and stuff and flying, and that's right. And I asked him, about the activity in this area, and he turned around and went, "There's no activity in here. There's been nothing." And next minute, the light, so everybody kind of heard me, and they all turned around, they're like looking, and next minute the light started browning out and flashing. And he just stopped in his face, and he was like, "That's never happened before." and then he's just like, "I'm leaving."
And he goes, "It's your fault. It's you.
You two are causing this."
And so he power walked up the stairs to the museum, and everyone kind of followed him, and I was like, shit, I'm coming back down. And so I power walked down the stairs and came back into the bathroom with Juliet, and we literally stood there and filmed on the iPhone and just went, okay, we know you're here. Give us something to talk about. And man, there's so many orbs.
It was like we got attacked. It just like flew at us, and it was like the whole room just lit up, like orbs, and it was insane. Amazing. It was like, that's cool. We acknowledge you. We know that you guys have been through hell, and and we come here with the utmost respect. And it was almost like they're like, oh my God, finally somebody's acknowledging us,
and that was totally it. And that was it when he said there's no activity here at all, and literally, and literally those entities went, oh, we'll show you some activity.
It's so funny.
That was amazing.
Because he'd been there, like this guy had been there for like 20 years.
Old boy.
This is my domain, and that's where we were stepping on his domain. And we said this was utmost respect. He's probably spent a lot of time in that place and looked after it and loved it. But there's got to be a point where you stop with the stories and tell the truth, because that's what needs to be told. 100%. But it was and he just never came near us after that.
We haven't been back there yet, but
we've probably got 2 posters up with our faces going, "Do not let these women in here."
We may try.
Have to put disguises on.
So funny. Can we just give a shout out to hey Mike from Tactical Bigfoot Research? It's nice to have you here, man. Hey, what's going on? I've just jumped back into the comments and gone, sorry everyone, I forgot to
anybody else.
We got all sucked into our stories. Sorry about that. That was crazy town, man. That bathroom was whew.
It was. I would love to go back. Even that whole kind of kitchen. It probably wasn't a pizza oven. It was just like this round oven. Wasn't a pizza oven, guys. It looked like a pizza oven.
Looked like a pizza.
But yeah, but it was really odd, because you just suddenly, it was like, where's the kitchen? And all of a sudden you just go down into like these spiral stairs, and then you're underground, you're under the building, and it was like, wow, okay, this is crazy. So
very strange place, and just so like, and that I think was the thing that really dawned on me, just so many lies.
Yeah.
This whole area is just built on lies. It's just
it was a gold town. Yeah, Ballarat is a gold town. People came from around the world, you know, and there are stories because, you know, women had turned up there to find husbands and basically got shoved into these prisons, you know, because they read books. They, you know, there was just so many different reasons, you know, same as the men, that if you went from an Australian culture, you know, you were basically targeted, and you were targeted. There's only one way to say it. You were targeted. You know, and these, you know, these poor people, you know, and it is, you know, we could probably get banned for this, but you know, it's those stories that need to be told, though, you know, it's
absolutely,
and it's a history. It's like a history that needs to be told so it doesn't happen again, which it is. Yeah, it's still happening. Yeah,
it's always going to happen, but it also, it helps you understand the paranormal activity, the UFO activity that we had as well when we were there. All of the above, the cryptids that are there, the yowies.
The fairies, the lady that apparently just goes out and hangs out with the fairies in the trees there. That whole area was part of the Golden Triangle.
Yeah, the Golden Triangle.
So it's called the Golden Triangle, and that whole area just has every type of activity that you can think of. And then you felt it. You felt it when you went into these areas. Yeah.
We heard a really lovely story, though. I'm going to tell the story of the luminescent swans.
Oh,
the glowing swans. When we got to our accommodation there, which was a story in itself.
I'm just saying that Lisa found this accommodation.
Oh fuck! It was quirky, right? It was cool. I was like,
this is quirky. This is amazing. This is kind of what we didn't want to go into a normal place. We wanted to find a little off the wall place. Turned into this place. Turned up, opened the door. What's standing there? A giant statue with a big phallus pointing at us. Like, wow, okay, this is different. And this whole house was just full of giant phalluses, if you know what those are, guys. Like statues, like native statues, everything, everywhere. You walk up the stairs, there's like a big giant one pointing you in the face. You're like, wow, well done, Lisa. Well done.
Bloody artists, you're all the same.
I don't know. We call it the fertility lodge, I think.
Oh my god.
It was really funny. Like,
yeah. It was a converted old barn, in fact. So it was really old. It was the same blue bricks that they used in the jail. And they were huge, right? Absolutely.
These things are 4 foot thick. So yeah, so they're massive. So the windows, you got these windows, and then you got 4 foot of nothing but spiders.
Yeah, with like plexiglass on each side, so you can literally see through the hole.
Giant spiders.
Oh my god! Yeah, I was like, don't look through the hole. We'll be fine.
And then you can see daylight outside. You know, like through pipes, and you're just like, oh, so much stuff can get through those pipes. Yeah, but it wasn't the pipe. It wasn't spiders we had issues with. It was the activity we had issues.
It was the ghosty roasties. Yeah, and so when we met the owners, we were driving down to the riverbank, and we were like, oh, that's so cute down there. Let's go have a wee look. And you know, it's a very old area. A lot of the men and women, but a lot of the men in that area got shipped off to one of the world wars, maybe World War II, and died. And obviously, so they had a remembrance road with a whole heap of plaques and stuff along the way. And we were just blown away by how many men from that township were lost.
I was, and the surrounding towns, just it was basically, it was like probably close to
World War One.
Yeah, there were like thousands and thousands just lost from all these farms and stuff. Insane. Yeah.
And so when we drove down to the lake or the river or whatever it was like a big body of water.
Beautiful like lake. Yeah,
lake maybe.
And it was kind of eerie, had an eerie feeling about
it
it.
was really weird.
Like,
Yeah, we're like,
down there. We want to go down there. Yeah.
let's go have a wee look anyway. So we bumped into the owners and they said, oh, well, we've got a supernatural story for you. There's this old story, kind of urban legend sort of story called about the luminescent swans. And we were like, okay, glow in the dark birds. Where are we going with this? But the story goes that there was two lovers down there going for a bit of a walk, and they'd sit and they'd talk. And, you know, back in the olden days where they were a little bit more controlled and, you know, not so risque. And they, you know, they would sit down there and under the moonlight and talk and read poetry to each other and that sort of stuff. And this one day they happened upon this pair of swans, and they lit themselves up. They became luminescent and they glowed underneath the moonlight. And this couple were like, oh my God, this is a sign of love and blah, 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 blah. And apparently they've been seen on that lake numerous times by different people that are sitting down there and, you know, enjoying the lake and stuff. And this pair of luminescent swans are floating.
Yeah, they just pop up. Yeah. And then they've been seen dozens and dozens of times by local people, by visitors and stuff to this one lake. So we couldn't find any other information though, about like possibly
total urban legend.
Yeah, where these swans had come from. But it was, I mean, we got drawn to that lake, didn't we? We were just like, oh, well, let's go down here, like going over country. And I go, oh, maybe we should have brought the car down here because it was like a little bit rough. But yeah, and there was just something about that lake that drew us down. And then, you know, and then to meet the owners and to hear the story, it was kind of like, oh, okay, it's cool. It's like, it was almost like, we want you to know our story, so now you know it. So yeah.
And I think when you're open, you go to places like that, you tend to hear those stories, or you tend to get attracted to places that want to tell you those stories, which is real cool.
Yeah. No.
We should have asked her about all the phalluses that she put in her house at the same time.
She does Airbnb. We should put the link in if you.
I'll drop the link. You can have a look at it.
But you didn't really see those on the pictures. That was the great thing.
There's no way we would have moved into Pina's house. Okay, come on. I was like, oh my God, what
like over a meter high, and it's like your eye suddenly goes to, you're like, wow. I'm like, okay, that's a welcome and a half into the house. Like, what's next? And then you walk in, you're like, oh God.
It was
and then we had like the library, like all the books, and they were just like massive giant spider webs all over it, because we're like, oh, cool books, and then you're like, oh God, no, let's not touch the books. There's just giant spiders everywhere. You're like, oh, I'm like, what are we doing in this place?
But no, think about rural Australia, right?
Yeah, that's it. You know, it's
I think the funniest part for me was like, you know, I'm in New Zealand. You get a spider, oh well, who cares, you know? Anyway, so I walk on in and I'm like, oh, you know, sit down, have a bit of a kind of get together, figure out what's going on.
What's going to poke me in the eye in the middle of the night?
And I'm just like, oh, there's some phalluses up there, and it's interesting. And Juliet's walking around the corners of the house like, there's a redback. I think that's a redback. There's definitely one over here. And she's like, I'm walking around like lifting all the picture frames away from the
like,
wall.
oh my God, we're in snake country. I'm like, do not go outside and bare feet.
It was excellent. It was so funny.
It was a cool place. It was a really cool place. And it was so funny because like we were playing, we're like, oh man, we're getting together. When we brought like all these bottles of wine, we're going to have so much fun. Like we would come home, we'd have one glass and we'd go to bed. We were so exhausted.
Did way too much investigating.
We did way too much in that small amount of time, but no.
There was definitely one thing that we wanted to do, right? We wanted to go up to the Grampians and go and see the rock art up there, the Aboriginal rock art, and there's stories of yowies up there. So I think that's definitely something we're going to go back and do, right? Because it's just north of Melbourne where you are. It took us, what, like 2.5 hours or something, 3 hours to get up there?
No, only about an hour and a half. It's only about an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
So it's not too far. And the reason we couldn't get up to the Grampians, like one was like time-wise, but the road had been washed out, remember?
Oh, yes.
There was no road. So, Yeah,
There's a lot of stories of yowies up there, which are
which
Bigfoot.
I had no idea. I had no
Mm.
idea there was like a lot of yowie sightings up in that area. So, and I was very unaware of the UFO sightings either. All I knew about that area is that it had a lot of paranormal. Ballarat, Bendigo, all these areas, because they're old gold mining towns, you know, all kind of late 1800s. You know, so it was really, really interesting to find out about, you know, and then going to Cryle Castle and talking to the lady that with all the fairies, and
she was
it just blew us away. Like, and that was, you know, literally what Lisa said. You know, we went up there with an open mind to be like, okay, we want to find anything to do with the supernatural, anything like this. And we did. We met amazing people, found out about some amazing areas that to go and visit. So it's definitely a town that we could go back to several times, and every time we would find something different. There's just so much there.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And I think Australia is so cool like that because it's so vast and there's so much, you know, like the Aboriginal people have been living on the land for 60,000 plus years. So there's so much energy that's already in the land itself, along with all of the other kind of events that have happened over the last, you know, 60 to 100,000 years. That's pretty, that's crazy. It's crazy to even think that far back. Were there dinosaurs floating around then?
Well, they're all in the outback. They're like we've got some of the biggest dinosaur bones in the world that have been found here in Queensland, Northern Territories. So you can go, and there's actually an open ground pit where you can go and see all the dinosaur bones and stuff. But you're looking at like a 4-hour drive from the nearest town. So there's nowhere to stay out there. It's literally just this random place in the middle of nowhere. But it would be very, very cool to go and see it. You know, it's definitely on my bucket list. I'd love to go up there and stuff like that. So,
and it's those crossover points, right? Like, so for anyone that doesn't know the cosmic framework that we've put together, it's on our social media pages, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. It's pinned at the top. And it basically explains what the cosmic framework is, what the different sections are, and a Venn diagram, how it connects with each other and how they pass over each other. And when we first started Cryptid Women's Society, we were like, oh, how do we make this work? Because the industry and the community itself is so vast, right? And if you're talking paranormal, then you have to be talking UFO. And if you're talking UFO, then you have to be talking cryptids. And if you talk, like, there's all of these other things. And we were like, there has to be crossover points. And how do we show that? And so when I kind of, you know, when we went up to Ballarat and up to kind of North Melbourne, we were like, okay, so what are we going to see here? Like, yeah, we'll go for the paranormal. What else is going to happen? On our way up, when we were driving up there, Jules was driving, and we saw this crazy like sunset coming through, and this smoke cloud coming from one of the hills. And in Australia, there's not many hills, right? It's very, very flat, especially through the top of Melbourne, super flat, not many hills and that sort of stuff going on. And so there was a hill line in front of us, but there was this cloud of smoke, like chimney smoke, coming from nowhere. It was detached from the hill and enough distance to be able to see through that and know that it's not attached to the hill. We're like, what the hell is this? This is so odd. And I've got some photos of that. I don't know if I've got it in my downloads, but oh my God, it was really weird. And at the same time as we're driving, looking at this giant kind of smokestack cloud coming off what should have been the hill but wasn't attached to the hill, we see this huge silver orb floating in the sky behind us. And I'm like, dude, drive the car, don't crash, but look out your rear vision mirror. And she's like, oh my God, I don't think I can do that. And I'm looking behind us just going, holy shit, there is a massive silver orb floating in the sky right behind our car. In this, and it was shining, it was reflecting off the sunset that was coming through. It was absolutely insane. And I was like, is this literally the start?
And then it turned orange, and then it turned into a large orange globe, and we, you know, we didn't know about any UFO activity or anything within this area at all. And, you know, and I think you try to get a photo of it, and you say you've got it, so you can see that's there. It was very, very odd. And it wasn't until we were talking to locals later on that in this area, that's when we got told about the Golden Triangle, are all these giant orange globes that are seen in this whole area. They will follow you down the road. They are up in the sky. They're in the hills. They're sitting in a field. They're big ones. They're small ones. And we had no idea about this, you know.
Right. Oh my God, memory. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it started silver, reflecting, and then it turned into one of those old kind of like headlamps on a car,
That's
like
right.
frosted.
It looks like a headlamp.
I was like,
That's
oh my God,
right.
it's like a headlamp on one of those old cars, like kind of white, orangey yellow kind of glow, but it was like frosted, and yeah, then it went into this kind of orange orb.
Yeah, it was
crazy. And that was the start of the adventure. My God.
Yeah, that was driving there, and we're like, oh my God. And when we found out about that, we're like, oh my God, we saw this orange orb, you know, and they're like, yeah, that happens here all the time. We're like, okay, good to know.
Wow. And that's what I mean, like those crossover points. That's why the cosmic framework is so important, because it helps us kind of navigate. Okay, cool. So that brings this in and that brings this in. There must be a lot of energy in this area. And there are said to be portals within that space.
Oh yeah, a few portals. What else was it? Yeah, there's a lot of activity within this area, a lot of energy. And then, you know, as we learned later on, because this was, you know, what holds this energy are these metals, and this whole area is gold.
Ooh,
it is gold, it is minerals, and you know, and this gold and all these minerals, and crystals, they hold all this energy.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's why, you know, a lot of these old gold towns still, I think, have a lot of activity and a lot of stuff going on, because that gold and those minerals, they all hold that energy. It's all through the ground.
Yeah,
you know, there's gold all over Australia. I mean, it's pretty. This whole country is pretty insane with the amount of gold that is here.
And then you add in all the other precious metals and opal and other types of crystals and gemstones and stuff, and it really kind of puts it into perspective. You then go, we're seeing the very, very small amount on top, you know, that's kind of seeping through. Imagine being able to kind of jump through that veil a little bit further, and
and that, you know, that's it. You know, we talk about that crossover with the cosmic framework. You know, you've got the cryptozoology and stuff like that. So then you got the paracryptozoology. So, you know, some people say that Bigfoot can cross interdimensionally. You know, is he supernatural? Is it a paranormal thing? You know, there's so many different ways that people kind of look at this. So, you know, it's so there's got to be that you know, Bigfoot's been seen flying UFOs. So I mean, come on, Miller.
I don't know. Who am I
to say? Okay.
Does he have his license? I don't know about that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, maybe. Hey, I've got a story for you. I've got a story for you that I don't think I've ever told you, Jules.
Oh.
I don't know, maybe. But so I've always grown up with German Shepherd dogs. Always, throughout my whole life, mum and dad have always had big dogs. And when I was younger, we used to have a dog called Bruce. We had Bruce and Flynn. Bruce. And so Flynn dog was our older dog. He was a big, shaggy, kind of tan and black German Shepherd. And he was my dad's dog. He used to go out onto the dock reservation land and do all that sort of stuff with him. He was a real farm dog. And then my mum acquired, in quotation marks, this big black half Newfoundland German Shepherd, tan feet dog, right? Huge long hair, amazing dog. And the way she acquired him was we were going for a walk down through like a park or a riverbank or something. We were going on a bushwalk, and there was this beautiful blonde-haired woman, mini skirt on, lovely top, jewels. She had like gold necklaces and diamonds on her fingers, kind of that sort of bright lipstick, and she's being dragged along by this huge black German Shepherd dog, right? And he made a beeline for my mum, and my mum speaks dog. you know, she's just got this affinity, like she just speaks animal. Used to be a racehorse trainer. She was like, oh, you know, like I just connect with the animals. And so this dog came running at her and basically just went, I love you. And she went, oh my God, he's gorgeous. And this woman said, do you want him? He's too big for me. Do you want him? And Mum said, are you serious? And she said, yes, I'm 100% serious. I don't want him anymore. And she went, okay. And she literally put this dog in the boot of the car and took him home. That was it, right? So we acquired this dog called Bruce, this huge, big, black, shaggy, delicious, amazingly intelligent dog.
Yeah.
He used to play hide and seek with us and tag and all sorts of stuff. So one day, my parents were very involved with the church, and like probably too involved with the church, where they were probably blindsided, if that makes sense, by other things. They were too focused, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people that are listening, especially from the cult of conspiracy, if you're listening to this, they'll understand the people, what do we call them, kind of Bible Belt people that are very aligned with the church and not much else.
Yeah.
So my parents were in that sort of space. And so one night I was, or like kind of around dinner time or whatever, I was sitting in the lounge room, and I was about probably, I don't know, 10 or 11 at the time, so pretty young. And my mum was out, my dad was home, and he was waiting for a guy to come over and buy a computer, because he used to be a computer technician. And so I was just sitting there watching some telly in the lounge, and this guy showed up and obviously kind of knocked on the door, and Dad said, oh, come on in, you know, like, and Dad powered off down to the room to go to the computer, thought this guy was going to follow him. Well, he didn't follow him. He decided that he would come for a wee little walk around the house and find me. At the same time, he found me, little 10-year-old, sitting there, and I was a very tiny wee thing. I was a gymnast at the time, and I had long dark hair, and I was very little. And at the moment that he found me sitting there and he walked around the corner, and I fucking remember it as well, he was this disgusting, really tall, like 6'5", huge, long bearded, hillbilly looking, wearing like overalls, like with one strap on, sort of jean overall sort of dude, big fat belly, but a huge unit of a guy. And the moment that he walked around the corner and I saw him, my dog came and sat right next to me. He moved, picked himself up from his mat, and came running over and sat in, like, you know, on his haunches, sat there and looked at this guy and started growling. And this guy came, you know, was like, oh, hello there. Oh, what's your name? Blah, 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 blah. Started trying to talk to me. And I just sat there looking at this guy going, you're a bad mamma jamma. I don't want to talk to you at all. Like, the bad juju that was coming off this dude was pretty phenomenal. My dad's in the other room. Fuck knows where he was. Like,
good old parenting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back in the 80s. You'll be fine. The dog will look after her. And my dog started barking, German Shepherd, black, scary, pointy ear, barking at this guy, going, you better fuck right off now. Don't touch my girl, basically.
Yeah.
That spurred my dad to come back out and go, oh, what are you? Oh, no, round here, mate, round here. Anyway, so took this guy in, did the computer stuff, and he left, right? And that really, it stuck with me since I was 10 years old.
You knew you were in danger.
I knew I was in danger, and he knew I was in danger. He knew that it was really, really bad.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, my mum comes running in the house. I'm sure my mum's going to love me telling this story live to the world. My mum comes running in the house. Mum, where the fuck are you? And he comes out of his computer room. We're going to get banned. I'm so sorry, YouTube. He comes out of the computer room. She goes, you know that? She goes, you're not selling computers ever again. And he goes, why? What's wrong? What's wrong? And this was like just after like school. So I was sitting there eating my afternoon tea or whatever. You're never selling computers again, and nobody's ever coming to our house again. He's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? That guy that you brought over here, I told you not to bring him over here, and you did. He's a bloody Pedopile. And he is in the newspaper and everyone knows it. And you brought him in here to my house. And now he knows where my daughter sleeps. Oh my God. Woo! Yeah. And so knowing that in hindsight, my dog 100% knew that guy had bad energy, that guy was a bad guy. And so I think at the same time, like we speak about ghosts and apparitions and this like residual energy and that sort of stuff, we have to remember that there's this whole other side, right, of animals that we connect with and that we respond to and that we communicate with and that we have relationships with that are our protectors and feel that paranormal, that energy and that kind of bad. He had
and that's it, isn't it? Everything is energy based, and you know, and it's always the one thing that we say to people: if your gut goes something is wrong, you have to listen, because you know, it's like your gut, it's that energy, it is that negative energy that is coming at you, that is warning you, whether it be just what's around your body or whether it's something else trying to warn you, going, you are in a really, really bad situation, you know. And I have always trusted that gut feeling, or whatever you want to call it. And you know, it has got me out of some very sticky situations where I've backed out of situations because of that. And everyone's gone, no, it's all good. And I'm like, no, it's not. You know, so that's it. You know, it's not just like the paranormal side of it. It's like we say, it's a very spiritual thing. It's an energy thing. It's a magnetic thing. So, you know, and that's pretty much kind of what all these other energies and stuff are. You know, it's all connected. So
connected, yeah. And I mean, like, there's so many stories about animal ghosts and like we heard the horses and bits and pieces like that kind of clomping down the road and all that sort of stuff. And it's mental when you really think about how many paranormal occurrences happen all the time. And if you're in tune with it, then you get to experience some of that. Some people never have paranormal experiences. Some people have never had anything. I always thought everyone kind of had what I had, or, you know, like, and I know that you were the same, like for a long time, you're like, oh, you guys don't have.
You don't have little things popping up going, hey. Oh, okay, it's just me.
All right then, yeah. You don't see UFOs floating in the sky? And I always thought you saw UFOs, Julie. I always thought that you'd seen UFOs, and then you were like, I've never seen one, maybe one in my life.
Oh, we've seen like ones up in the distance, like zip, 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 zips. But yeah, that's it. You're like, oh, okay, that's not normal.
Oh my God, yeah. Hey, do you know, a little bit off topic, but onto the UFOs real quick. So I saw this post the other day on like TikTok or whatever it was, and was someone posting this video of what they thought was Starlink, right? You know, Starlink is like quite far apart in the sky, and it tends to be like, you know, just nice little satellites far apart, and it just kind of curves over the sky, right? And so this guy was like, I don't think this is Starlink, check this out. And it was literally like a snake of lights that kind of went through the sky. And he was like, and then it disappeared into a big black cloud. And now it's gone. And I went, oh my God, that happened to us. Do you remember this story? Do you remember me telling you?
Yeah.
And we were sitting outside, my husband and I were sitting outside, and he was like, oh, there's no UFOs, ha, ha, ha. You call to them, because I was telling him, you know, like, if you call to them, sometimes they'll flash their lights at you. And I'd been talking to them for a while, and, you know, like, I was like, you know, I don't know what they are or what's going on, but they'll flash their lights at you. And he goes, oh, go on then. And I went, oh, okay, Terry doesn't believe in you, so let's give him a show. And we just sat there. It was the most clear, beautiful night. We could see the Milky Way across the top of us. Like, it was stunning. The garage was just behind us. We were literally just sitting in front of the garage on these railway sleepers. And I was like, and we're just sitting there looking up, and all of a sudden, this huge row of really close together, bright, silvery lights flew straight over the top of the garage, went straight like Star Wars, you know, like over the top of you. went straight forward, and then disappeared into a black cloud. And I was like, where have you gone? Where have you gone? And it just disappeared. And Terry was very much like, nope. And he decided to go.
Nobody, nope, not dealing with it. Nope. Not today.
So he came inside and decided that he would go to sleep because it was too scary.
Well, do you know what I heard? And I probably should have saved this. Maybe I did. It was actually some guys talking about all the satellites and all this kind of stuff up in the sky. So if these satellites, thinking of the sizes that they are, if they are the amount of miles or kilometers away from us, even with all their brightest lights on, we still wouldn't see them.
I've seen exactly the same post that you're talking about, and it was from a scientist, basically saying
we would not see these satellites. We would not see space junk because it is up there. It is past everything. We would not see it.
Yes.
We would not see satellites going over us. We would not see this going over us. So it's like,
something is not true.
Something is not computing.
What do they say? There's
math ain't mathing.
Math ain't mathing, and there's fiduciary afoot.
Fiduciary afoot. I think that's Joe's word, eh?
Fiduciary. There's
fiduciary going on here, guys.
Oh my God! Yes,
and it is. I mean, like the more you go into it, the more you're like, geez, man, it's just there's so much. So it's just there's so many lies out there right now. So it's and I don't know when the hell is this alien ship supposed to be arriving? I don't know.
Well, look, apparently the rapture is meant to happen anytime from today till tomorrow. So if I disappear tomorrow,
so when was the alien ship supposed to have been here?
About nowish, yeah. And so
I've been too busy for that shit.
Oh, you've been moving house.
I've been moving house, new job, moving house, like one day off a week. My God, trying to move a house with 1 day a week off was insane.
Yeah, but also, Jules, you've started a new job, and you said that you have acquired a few friends at your job.
I have. I work in 2 very, very large facilities, like storage facilities, and just for the joke of it, I was there by myself and I was just doing some stuff, so I just put my little ghost box on. I was like, hey, having a little talk to everyone, and I've got a friend. I got a few friends actually there, but one in particular that is now following me around. Very intelligent. Like I can ask a question, it will answer me straight away. And so when I first started talking to this, I'm pretty sure it's a guy. Like I said, look, hey, I've got to go now. I've got to go back to the office. And it literally turned around and said, why? Why are you going? And I said, because I have to go and do my work. Otherwise, I can't get paid and I don't eat. And it was like, ha! He goes, but come back. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll come back. So, and then I've come back, and it was really funny. So I was over at the other facility again, and I turned it on, and it was like, ha! You came back. I was like, damn.
I did.
So he literally was like, you came back. And so like I could have a conversation with this thing, and it's like it will answer questions, and it goes on for about 15 minutes, and then obviously could run out of energy, whatever. But I always say to him, I'm going to come back, I'm going to see you, and I'll keep chatting to you and stuff like that. So
have you asked it any specific questions, like about who he is, or
I've asked for names and stuff. The name Pat has come out. There was something else that came through that was like a little bit like on the creepy side, and I asked where it was, and it was basically said it was in a drawer, and it was a doll. I'm like, oh, that's not half creepy. Yeah. Great, we've got a haunted bloody doll in here.
Oh, not another haunted doll.
I'm like, and then he was like talking, like the one that I was talking to was like, oh, I was like, because like he was curious. I was like, why are you here? And I went, well, I work here now. And it started talking about the trucks coming in and stuff, because we have massive trucks that come in. I was like, oh, the trucks. And I was like, yeah, the trucks. I said, that's what we do. We've got the storage. And I said, oh, maybe your stuff, maybe a part of you is here or something, I mean, we've got storage places there that have, people have basically put their stuff in and left it for 10 years, it's
Sure.
yeah, it's really interesting.
So
So
it could be anywhere. It's not like you're ever going to find it.
we've got 900 units, man.
Yeah, wow.
There's no way. But he's always seems to be in the same place by the lift, and as soon as I get there, he goes, "Hey, you're back." I'm like, "Here we go."
Yes, I am.
And Daniel, who I work with, is like, looks at me and goes, "Jesus Christ."
Does he get freaked out by it?
Yeah, he doesn't like it. Doesn't like it at all. But it's really funny because like we've got a big area manager that comes in and he's right into it and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I've got him. He goes, oh, that's cool. He goes, I'm going to
talk to Pat
with him.
Come and talk to Pat. He's by the lift.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I mean, that's it. You can pick up stuff. Yeah, I think just being open to it. But yeah, whatever's there is definitely intelligent. Will answer my questions straight away. There's no kind of thing. I can just ask them the most random question and what comes back is insane. So yeah, I just think it's really
cool.
really funny. So
how very interesting that well, actually it's quite fitting that you're in a storage place where you've just got thousands of people
so much
stuff.
Yeah. Because it is, like there's stuff that's come in here that's like from old estates and stuff like that, and it's either like the family don't know what to do with it, or there's they're fighting over it, or whatever. So it just basically gets shoved into storage, and as everybody knows, the legal system is pretty slow.
Yeah.
And then people run out of money and they just leave it. So
and people are, energy is attached to objects, right? Like, I remember when my partner Terry, went to a secondhand store, and I said to everyone, we walked into this secondhand store, and it was like they'd set up each person's estate. This was Joan's estate, and this was Murray's estate. And I was like, that is not okay. Like, this is literally her bedroom or whatever, like with her hairbrush. And it was terrible. And I said to everyone, don't touch.
Don't touch it.
Just look around, don't touch it. It was literally like Joan standing there next to her bedroom, and then Murray over here holding his hammer. Like, I was like, that is not really how you want to set this up. Anyway, who doesn't listen to Lisa? Terry. Yeah, Terry, my husband, goes, oh, look at, and he goes like this, hey, honey, look at this. And I was like, put it down. And he's like, okay. And he's like, but there's bottles and stuff, bottles and cool stuff. I was like, that's Murray.
He loves that stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, so he puts it down. Not a problem. We all kind of walk out, and I'm like praying in my head going, oh, get rid of that. I don't want to take that home. That day we went home and he fell asleep at like 2:00 in the afternoon, which isn't something that he ever does. Fell asleep on the couch, deep sleep for about 20 minutes, woke up screaming his face off because he had a dream that Murray, I don't know if his name was Murray, but whoever owned the bottles and the estate that he was bloody touching was in front of him, like down like a driveway, and turned around and started walking towards him, and then started throwing like bottles and crockery and stuff. And he goes, oh my God, and it was the stuff that was on the estate. It was there. It was all the stuff that was there. And I said to him, don't touch stuff. I told you. He is so freaked out. So freaked out.
Oh, poor Terry. That's so funny. That cracks me up.
But I mean, that's it, eh? Like, you can feel it when you walk in somewhere. Like that one time that we went into that antique store. Do you remember that one? That was very scary.
That was like, it was all French antiques and the tables and stuff there. And man, we just got, get out, don't touch me, get out. And we were like, and both of us were like looking at each other, and we're like, we need to leave. We need to leave now. It was just like every kind of type of energy that's told us to go, every gut energy, it was like, you need to leave now. And what happened?
And the urgency around it, though, eh?
Like the get out. It was almost like we're being pushed. Push. Don't.
And I remember the lady that was at the counter, and she was like, hello, and we were like,
we're gone. It's we're like, no, we're gonna go. We're gonna just like,
we can't even talk to you. We're so sorry.
we were like, oh, we're just here for lunch. We went in and we were going to have lunch in that area. This was in Thorndon, and we were going to have lunch in that area. We literally hopped in the car and we drove away. And what happened? Less than an hour later, there was a shooting. It was a shooting, a stabbing.
It was a stabbing. It was an aggravated robbery in there. And we saw it on the television. Because we didn't end up staying for lunch or anything. We just went home.
We left that whole because there was all like those beautiful like little restaurants and stuff there. And we're like, oh, we're going to have nice lunch. And we just left and we're like, okay.
We need to go home. And so we went home, we turned on the television, and it literally came up with breaking news. And it was a like film footage of this antique shop
and
somebody had come in and held them up, aggravated robbery with a knife. And we knew if we had have been there, being that I've done numerous years of protection and bodyguarding and martial arts, and same with Jules, we would have had to have stepped in. And we were very forcefully made to leave at that time.
Yeah. It was really interesting. Yeah,
that really stayed with me, Like when you think back on it. Woo! Yeah.
And we're like, oh, a little French restaurant, but okay, we're driving away. And we're both like, oh,
where we go? Because we were so excited that we got to go out together and have lunch, and we got
those our first days off.
Our first days off alone.
They were awesome. We were like, oh my God, we finally get to spend a day together. And like, get out of here.
And so we ended up literally at home.
At home, just eating like Woolworths, like chicken or something.
It was so sad. But that's it, obviously we have lots of protection looking after us, be it angels or be it guides or, whatever, telling us very clearly to leave, because we would have had to have been involved. There's no way we would have stood back if that had have happened in front of us. We would have been involved, and potentially somebody would have been hurt, and hopefully not us, but we still would have had to have dealt with that situation and the outcome of that. And in New Zealand law, if you are a black belt, if you hold a black belt in any sort of martial arts, you're deemed a lethal weapon. And that means that you get slapped with manslaughter straight away. It doesn't matter what happens, if it's grievous bodily harm or assault. If somebody was to die, you could not use self-defense as a case. You would be done as manslaughter.
It's just ridiculous. The same thing's coming over here. Literally in this last month, that if somebody breaks into your house, you are not allowed to defend yourself.
Yes, that's in New Zealand also. So,
and I'm just like, well,
But what did your dad always say?
Like if they do,
one in the chest and then one in the roof, right? One in the chest and then one in the roof. I gave him a warning shot. Oh yeah, Dad had it right. He knows. Hi, Dad. So crazy. It's you never quite know what's going to happen, but it's nice to know that you have guidance, right? It's nice to know that you've got a team of angels or a team of spirits or a team of guides to help you kind of navigate through life and keep you safe.
And then open yourself up to them a little bit and just be like, hey, just give me, it doesn't mean you're going to have to see something or whatever, but just always, gut feeling, man. Gut feeling.
Yeah. Instinct is the most important thing. One of the things that we are going to be doing very, very soon is creating our signature program, which I'm very excited about. And Juliet, I'm sure, will be very excited once she gets back on board with the flow of stuff.
I could show you my room, but I'm not going to because
it's a mess. But part of that signature program for Cryptid Women's Society is going to be listening to your instincts, understanding physiological and the biology that happens, and how to look after yourself when you're in those sort of situations. And it's so important as women, if you're going to a dark alley, a cemetery, an abandoned building, on a tour by yourself with a group of people you don't know, you have to know how to look after yourself. We're not talking about punching and kicking. We're not talking about Vulcan death grips. although that is fun. We're talking about identifying exits, creating distance, and all of the above.
Yeah,
so
and if something doesn't feel right, you know,
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You can have all the spiritual protection that you want in the world, but the most dangerous thing to you right now is another human.
Yeah.
And so yeah, really, really important stuff coming through, and we'll be doing spiritual protection and all that other sort of stuff within that signature program. So
are we doing that spiritual protection will be coming from like completely like whether it's from the Catholic Church, Christian, spiritual, pagan, you know, it's coming from Buddhism, everyone, it's like how they all kind of incorporate that, how they protect themselves, how they feel about you know, what their views are on entities and all of this kind of stuff. So it's a big package that is being put together. It's absolutely fascinating to learn, you know, from other points of view of, you know, what they think spiritual entities are. How do you protect yourself? What do you think is coming through?
And what resonates.
And then what resonates with you. So yeah, very, very exciting.
It's going to be really cool. So many things on the list. If you went to the Mothman Festival over the weekend, I hope you had a blast. We had boots on the ground there. Miss Lacey was there repping the Cryptid Women's Society t-shirt. She has a 12-month membership competition running at the moment, so you can jump over to Instagram or Facebook at Cryptid Women's Society and jump into that competition still. It is still running. She said there was over 30,000 people there, and it was super, super hot. So if you went there, please let us know how it went, because it turns out it was pretty crazy town. What else have we got on the list, Miss Juliet? What else?
Oh, I have no idea. What have we got on the list? What are we doing now? Oh, we're doing debunking Bigfoot videos and photos next week. So
that's going to be so much fun.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. Hoax or real?
Hi, Jacob, the Bigfoot. If anyone hasn't heard of Jacob the Bigfoot, you will next week.
So it's all Bigfoot next week. It's all cryptids. We're super stoked because we love Bigfoot and we love Yowies and we love Moiho and we love all of the hairy hominids. And that's going to be super cool because I am trawling the internet for videos and footage at the moment. And I got a couple of crackers. Crackers for you. So that is going to be super, super fun. The Truth Seeker membership is up and running at the moment. If you want to become a founding member, now is your chance. This will not last forever. There is a date, an expiry date on this founding membership. It will be gone and the price tag will go up, skyrocket potentially. No, probably not skyrocket, but definitely go up. So now is your chance to become a founding member of Cryptid Women's Society as a Truth Seeker member, and you can get involved with the gathering, with Shadow Talk, where we do our live interviews, with the dungeon R18. Ooh, let's get a bit spicy and nasty down there in the dungeon. Also found a castle the other day that has a dungeon. Might buy it. We'll discuss that later.
Obviously, we want a castle, but it must have a dungeon.
The Arcane Library is on there as well. It's full of books and archived kind of case studies and all sorts of different things. But more importantly, you get to talk to the other members that are on there. And these women are amazing. They have PhDs, they have masters, they are degreed up to the nines, to the point where they're a little bit degree hoggy, and I want them to share their degrees around. They are investigators, they are explorers, and they are researchers, and they are here to share their evidence, share their research, share their knowledge. And that is the best place to come on in and have a chat with them. They'll be your best friends, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, famous by association. I know famous people. And it's not us. There's actually other famous people. But if you're in the community, you should definitely drop on by. An awesome way to support us and give a gift to the woman in your life, to your sister, to your auntie, to your wife, your partner, your mom. If they're into the paranormal or cryptids or UFOs or ancient civilizations or telepathy or telekinesis or anything kind of strange and ancient wisdom and fun stuff like that, get them to join. Come and get them.
You don't have to be out there researching and investigating. You can just come and be like we say, the armchair girls, and come in and just talk to everyone. It's everybody's little input, just having really cool conversations. There's a lot of laughter and banter that goes on. So you got to come in with an open mind and a good sense of humor.
And maybe a glass of wine. It just depends.
Definitely a glass of wine. Always a glass of wine.
Yeah, 100%. This has been so much fun. Thanks, Jules. I have learned. Yeah. I always learn from you. You always bring such good information to the table. And I now know that you have a friend at work. That's not me.
My new best friend.
I tell you what, you probably talk to Pat more than me. So Pat's going down.
Oh, sorry, Pat.
Taking Pat out. I'm going to start searching for dolls and drawers. He's gonna.
Like I've been a little bit off the grid at the moment, but I'm coming back. It's been insane. There's been a few hours, but my little Yeti would like to say goodbye.
Well, I tell you what, Jules, we love having you back here, mate. We love you, Yeti. Little fugly Yeti. It's so nice.
It's good to be back. It's so much fun, and I've missed it. And starting to get a bit more brain power back. So
English sentence structure.
Oh my god. Exhaustion. What?
Oh yeah, 100%. Hey, big ups to everyone that joined us today and everyone that's going to watch this a little bit later. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone on Cult of Conspiracy that sent us so many amazing messages. Thank you. We love you all. And it's so much fun. Thanks for being a part of it.
And Octoman, go get rid of your growly friend.
Oh my God, go get rid of the growl.
Get rid of the growl, man. You need to evict him out of your house.
And the weird hand that's sneaking up underneath your bed. Oh, that's going to be
that one's all right. That's not too bad, but
I'd much rather have a furry dog, man, than a bloody disembodied hand. It's thing. Maybe it's just from the Adams. Hey, love you all. Love you, Jules. Thanks so much for coming back. And fun stuff. Ooh.
We are back and we are bad. All right, everyone. Thank you. And we will see you next week with Bigfoot debunking videos and pictures. And if you have any, man, just shove them in. Send us pictures. Go, do you think this is real?
Oh my God, spam us with your Bigfoot.
Spam us with Bigfoot photos. And dates, and kind of, well, not so much dates, but kind of dates and where it is. That would be good if you've got
location. Man.
Yeah, location.
Hey, and also it's nearly Halloween. Just putting that out there. All right, hey, we love you all. Let's sign off.
Thank you.
Big kisses.
Bye. Now you gotta keep it going. He's gonna do the dance. He's doing the Yeti dance. He's gonna show his booty up.